Rambling Canuck back for another What If series. With me as always, Honstar, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Rob. Are you doing well today, sir?
As good as I can be expected, I guess. I guess that's the best you
You're
can hope
not.
for. They're
You're
still
not gonna.
locking us down, like.
Yeah. See, here it's the opposite. Now the news is talking about how low the new cases are, and we can run around with our shirts and masks off and sing "Kumbaya" with each other.
Oh yeah, no. Up here, they're still going. Humans are bad. That's basic gist of it. Humans are bad. Uh, so yeah. Fun shit. All right, so back to the topic at hand. Today we are doing what if the Battle of Britain, the Blitz, failed? What happens if Germany would have got air superiority? So, I guess we'll go with initial thought, then go into major discussion. But do you think it would have made a major difference? Do you think if they would have gotten if they would have won the Battle of Britain, so Luftwaffe wins, do they still go ahead with Sea Lion?
Now, are we talking pre Pearl Harbor or post Pearl Harbor? Or
Oh well,
pre American involvement or post
yeah, it
American involvement?
is because it's Operation Sea Lion, so it's right after France has fallen.
Okay. So I'm not up on all the dates like you are.
Yeah, so
Uh,
basically the Battle of Britain. So it's when the Luftwaffe was trying to take out the British Air Force.
okay, so the Luftwaffe wins. So see my first inclination or thought on that is, could they, after having air superiority, because without this, Sea Line to me is dead in the water. Without,
Yeah.
if they have air superiority, I'll get it out of my mouth eventually. Um, can they take out most of the Royal Navy now that they have air superiority? Because
See, and that's the contention, right?
yeah,
Because the time honored argument is even if the Battle of Britain fails, Germany can't invade England
yeah,
because the
they
Royal Navy will just blow them out of the water before they get there.
they would have to also take out as much of the Royal Navy as possible to even have a shot at Sea Lion.
Yeah,
And I don't. That would be the next stepping stone, I think, prior
to
to going
invasion. Yeah,
ahead to
because
going
you've
ahead
got to
of
be
Sea
able to
Lion.
secure the channel.
Yeah,
And I don't think they could do it with just aircraft alone. Because I mean, the British Navy at that time, I mean, the 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 Germans. This isn't World War One. The Germans don't have a major surface navy to commit
yeah,
to it to be able to combat. I mean, they don't even have an aircraft carrier for fuck's sakes.
yeah,
But I mean, at this point, you don't need to because it's over the channel, so you
yeah,
don't
and
really need an aircraft carrier because you've
yeah,
got the air bases in France. But I mean, they don't have the the British Navy has enough surface vessels to disrupt any crossing.
yeah, and even if they had air superiority, I mean, yeah, they could whittle away some at the fleet, but as powerful as the British Navy was at that point, there's a lot of whittling to do.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's the argument becomes okay. So let's say by some miracle they are able to protect the channel for 24 hours. So they have 24-hour window to get troops across. They've still got to protect their flank because the Royal Navy is still going to be able to come in
Yeah,
and disrupt their supply chain. So even if you do get 100, 200,000 troops on the other side of the channel, you have to
yeah,
be able to supply that army, which then becomes
which
complete airdrop. Like
yeah,
that's why
and
Sea Lion has always been kind of like, what in the hell were they thinking? Because one, you have to be able to secure the channel.
Yeah, which we did, or I should say, all the Allied forces did.
Yeah, you have to be able to secure the channel
because
against the largest navy in the world.
Yeah, they had to move a shit ton of stuff back and forth across the channel. Like
Yes.
tanks, food, fuel, and your initial assault is basically going to be all the heavy machinery that you can get in the country.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, from then on, if you can't actively cross the channel anymore without getting blown out of the water, then okay, you can airdrop men, you can airdrop supplies, ammunition, stuff like that. But, I mean, you need some more heavy equipment. And how much heavy equipment would they be prepared to move in 24 hours?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, because the channel isn't, in retrospect, it's not that wide. It's wide enough, but we're talking like cross Atlantic ideals. It's the smallest transport.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the channel is very unforgiving, for one.
Yeah, and
weather and the sea is always a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the weather can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And so, I mean, even if the Battle of Britain and the Luftwaffe are successful, it'll still be a very hard go for the Germans to invade Britain.
Yeah, I think what it could have brought on, though, is they could just continue to harass Britain with bombs and
bomb it into
like
submission. Yeah.
But like we talked in a previous thing, Churchill was never prepared to go to the table.
No.
So, I mean, they could basically level the whole country, but I think what they could gain by winning the Battle of Britain is they would have so many, they would still have aircraft, so they'd have air superiority. So if we tried to launch D-Day.
Yeah. Well, I would have made that almost impossible.
Yeah. So I still don't think, because of the Royal Navy, I still don't think that they would have went ahead with Sea Lion. But what it could have done is they would have been able to pull more troops away from that front and move them towards the Eastern Front against Russia. And possibly it could have made a difference on the Eastern Front.
On the Eastern Front, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if Operation Sea Lion goes ahead, this is before Barbarossa, so this is even before he invades Russia. So it would have changed Barbarossa a little bit, if the RAF had fallen.
Yeah.
He may not have had a war on two fronts. Because at this point, the United States is not getting in the war.
Yeah.
If they lose air superiority at that point in the war, I mean, it's billed as, if the British lose the air war, they lose the war.
Yeah.
And in a way, they're right. But in a way, they're not. For the simple fact, Operation Sea Lion, as it is sketchy. There's a lot of things that have to go to plan for that to work. And then even if you do get your armada across and you land, you have to keep those troops supplied. And the Royal Navy is not going to allow you, and you don't have the surface fleet. You just don't. I mean, the best they've got is a submarine fleet and an air force. And even then, their submarine fleet isn't what it would end up being in World War II. This is still early war, so they're not at peak performance for the subs either. So I think it would still be a very hard go for And I think it would be very naive to state that, well, if the air war is lost, so is Britain.
Yeah.
Um,
I just think it would mean more hell for Britain
oh, absolutely.
because they would
If
have
the RAF is
free
defeated,
reign
yeah, if the
in the
RAF is
air.
defeated, then um, then it spells open season
Yeah.
for, they can just literally bomb. I mean, then they could go into the radar. Once the RAF is taken out, then they'd probably start working on the radar installations,
Yeah.
and then sinking shipping would probably be the next on the list.
Yeah.
But it would be a matter of the Royal Navy. That's your biggest proponent, is the fact that the German Navy, they don't have the ships. They don't. I mean, the Bismarck and the Tirpitz aren't ready yet.
Yeah.
And even still, I mean, Bismarck and Tirpitz versus the Royal Navy.
Yeah. It's not a contest. Okay, two
Right.
ships against the whole Royal Navy.
You'd have Bismarck, Tirpitz, Scharnhorst, and its sister ship. But those are the big heavy hitters out of the German Navy.
Yeah.
And I mean, the British have more than enough to deal with that on a head-on-head. If they pulled from everywhere, which they would, because it would be desperation times, so you'd pull from everywhere.
Yeah.
For the one last stand, the Royal Navy will stand, and if the Royal Navy stands, then I don't see a crossing. And even if you do
No.
get troops across, then you run into the supply issue,
A major supply issue.
major supply issue,
Yeah.
because you'd have to either do it all in one go, where your plan would be that you go from the coast to London in one drive. You move enough material across that you can go to London in one drive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not. But the second that gets bogged down, you are essentially unsupplied. I mean, you could get airdrops for like gas, and even that you're not going to get what you need.
Yeah.
You need that.
If theoretically you get tanks and all that stuff across the channel, you're going to need a lot of fuel, more than could be kept up with, I think, by airdrops.
Yeah. Which means you have to secure the channel, and I don't see them being able to secure the
No,
channel.
It would be impossible, in my opinion. It would be impossible for them, even with air superiority, to secure the channel. I think Sea Line would still not happen, and their goal would be pound the hell out of Britain from the air until hopefully they come to the table.
Yeah. In the hopes that, one bomb hits Churchill or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I still think Sea Lion would be doomed. Even if they get the even if they do end up winning the Battle of Britain, I can't see them getting across the channel.
No. I mean, that was the whole reason that D-Day worked, was because the channel was secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the channel had been insecure, then we got a problem. But the Royal Navy was there. The United States Navy was there. The Canadian Navy was there.
And it stayed secure to keep
Yeah.
funneling supplies.
Yeah. If that supply route had been taken away,
Yeah.
then even D-Day
Yeah,
fails.
D-Day failed because they'd have moved as far as they could move, and then everything would have started running out.
Yeah.
And they'd basically be dead in the water, stuck where they are.
Yeah.
And
And then you end up with another Dunkirk.
yeah, because they're out of supplies and can't, replace men that have been injured or killed. So the Germans rally and come back and steamroll them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, I completely agree. I think Sea Lion would have still faced enormous challenges even with without the RAF. Without the RAF, I mean just the Royal Navy alone.
Yeah, I think the only thing it would have changed is bombing the holy hell
Oh yeah.
out of Britain
Yeah.
so much that they come to the table, and that's how they, you know, solve that problem.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to, even like we said with air power, they're still never going to whittle down the British Navy enough to
No.
secure the channel.
No, they're not. All right, so I think that was a pretty good summarance of it. I hope that everybody's found this kind of engaging and informative. Han, why don't you do your promotional bit, and then we'll wrap this sucker up.
Hey everybody, I'm Honstar, youtube.com/Honstar. I do Sunday night streams, 11 p.m. Eastern. We do Name That Tune, Jackbox Game Night. Each one's every other week, but the main thing is no matter which week you tune in on Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be something fun going on. We have a great time with Name That Tune, have a great time with Jackbox Game Nights. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HonStarYT.
Awesome. So his Honstar's link to his channel will be in the description as well. So hopefully everybody's enjoyed this little chat. And until next time, take her easy, folks.